Hello fellow NBA nerds, George here with The Profiler, NBA edition, where in each episode we will break down a specific team and their season so far, as well as questions and expectations for the rest of the NBA season. In this first episode, we are going to be profiling the current number one team in the NBA, the Milwaukee Bucks. But before we profile this team, let's hear a word from our sponsor. Aren't those drives home from work not only frustrating, but extremely dull? If only there was a way to make those commutes home not only easy, but the most enjoyable part of your day. Well, now there is, thanks to 48 Minutes or Less NBA podcast. And to make it even better, you can find them on your favorite podcast providers. The Bucks currently lead the NBA with a defensive rating of 101.5 and a net rating of plus 12.9. This successful defense is crafted by the use of a scheme that effectively utilizes the length of the Bucks players. But even more than that, the players provide stupendous effort each and every night. There are no nights off for this Bucks team during the regular season. The key strategy of the Bucks defense is to pack the paint. For instance, when the opponent sets a screen, the defending player does not follow, but rather stays low and near the dunker spot. With this strategy, the paint becomes heavily congested, which forces opponents to take the long mid-range jumper or the three, rather than the easy layup. This strategy does open up the opponent for the periodic open three, but the Bucks would rather live with a 35% three-point shooter taking an open three than an easy, uncontested shot around the rim. While this defensive scheme might seem to be a little outdated, considering the league is shooting over 1/3 of their shots from beyond the arc, analytics still shows that a shot within 4 feet from the basket is the most effective shot in basketball. Though the Bucks' success doesn't just come from their intense defensive play, they are also beasts on the offensive end. They currently have the number 2 ranked offense in the NBA with an offensive rating of 114.2. A lot of their offense is fueled by their ability to stop their opponents from scoring. Giannis is extremely quick and strong, so he is much more efficient during transition offense. The same can be said for Eric Bledsoe. Because of their ability to finish in transition, Bud's offensive schemes rely on running and gunning, which has given the Bucks the number 1 pace so far this NBA season. Of course, if we're talking about the offense of the Bucks, then we definitely need to mention the main engine of their offense. Last season's MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So far, Giannis is averaging 30.9 points per game, with an impressive 61.5 true shooting. Not only that, he's also averaging a career-high 5.5 dimes per game. With his continued progress as a scorer and a playmaker, the Bucks' offense is completely ran through him. They stretch the floor to allow Giannis to get inside the paint, and if he needs to, he throws a pretty pass to a teammate for an open three. Not only that though, Giannis has also added a new layer to his offensive game. He is currently attempting 5 threes a game. That is about twice the number of attempts from last year. And last year, he had a career high number of attempts. To top it all off, he is averaging a career high in 3-point percentage at 31.9%. Which, while he might not be killing teams from the 3-point line like other NBA players, it's respectable enough that opponents are needing to guard him from beyond the arc, which opens up spacing for offensive play. At this moment in time, it's pretty safe to say that the Bucks are a lock for the playoffs. But what happens after? Many contenders are feeling confident that they can stifle the Bucks come a 7-game series, after seeing Toronto make quick work of Milwaukee last Eastern Conference Finals. With teams going away from game-to-game scheming during the regular season, the Bucks will not be seeing similar coverage to what they will be experiencing come the postseason. This means there is not much prep they can do prior to the playoffs, especially if they continue to blow out teams night after night. The best strategy for the Bucks through the next 5 months of the regular season is to continue building on their role players in order to have more counters for what their opponents might be throwing their way come playoffs. A player that is a concern for the Bucks come the postseason is Eric Bledsoe. In the last 2 playoff runs, opponents have schemed effectively against him, and he seems to die out there. It was especially keen during the series against Boston in the 2018 playoffs, and this past season against Toronto. The question for Milwaukee is what Budenholzer plans to do with him during key moments of the game. While they haven't missed a beat this regular season, come playoffs, not paying Brogdon might come back to bite them in the butt. They will need to more heavily rely on their bench pieces to soak up key minutes for them when Bledsoe gets schemed out of games. Though, to hope that playoff defenses become intimidated by Dante DiVincenzo, Sterling Brown, and an old Ilyasova might be asking a bit too much. For now, the best we can do is wait to see if the Bucks do a move before the trade deadline, and as well continue to enjoy the greatness that is the Greek Freak, as he aims to acquire back-to-back MVPs. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoy what you heard. If you want to keep up to date with all things The Profiler, please hit that subscribe button, as well as like and comment in the section below. I read and enjoy all feedback. Also, why don't you join me next time as The Profiler makes his way to Los Angeles. You guys have a great week. And now, here's a quick minute of 48 minutes or less NBA podcast for your listening ears. Enjoy.
Yeah, so for talking about a player that we've known LeBron to lead many teams to success, one player that has kind of struggled with that and has constantly kept trying to prove himself to be a leader is Kyrie Irving, and that's where my third fact comes in. Currently, the Brooklyn Nets have a better record without Kyrie than with him. So with him, they have a 4-7 record, while without him, they have a 6-3 record, and that's with Spencer Dinwiddie leading the charge. Since Kyrie's been out, Dinwiddie has averaged about 25 points per game. And so I just don't know if part of that is actually because of Kyrie and his personality and all the things that happened in Boston and the questions that even he had before LeBron joined the Cavaliers back in 2014. I don't think that Kyrie's a bad, like a cancer for a team. I just think part of it has to do with getting a fit. And like Spencer Dinwiddie has been playing with these guys for multiple years now, while Kyrie's still kind of getting into the mode. And they have had a pretty easy schedule in the games that Kyrie's been out, so they haven't had like the toughest competition. So I don't know, what do you guys make of it? Do you think Kyrie's actually the cancer that everybody says he is?